Hello and welcome to Fridays on the Porch. I'm your host, Dr. Drkatieoshea, a podcast where we talk about holistic health and healing, unscripted, unedited, and uncut. Today, I'm excited to be joined with Susan Drummond, my Reiki master and mentor, here to talk about her journey and some other holistic health properties. So Susan, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is Susan's beautiful porch, our location for filming. So how are you doing today?
Terrific.
Well,
it's a good day and a beautiful day to be out on the porch and enjoying this weather.
Got to enjoy it since we are a seasonal podcast, and
True.
Probably won't see us building a snowman on the porch, but I learned never say never in life. So Susan, I found Susan through, I guess it was one of my girlfriends had a the medium parties.
Oh yeah,
and that's where I met Susan quite a few years ago. Through my own growth and healing and taking on different projects in life, I became a Reiki practitioner and reconnected with Susan at another one of those parties. And we're looking at each other like, oh my gosh, this noise. And I know everyone in the background hears nothing. We probably can't hear each other though. And then Susan came into my life again, and I went through and did my Reiki master level with her. And I rent space here at the center, work with clients here. And I thought, what a great person to have on to talk about your journey, how you got here, what the center provides for folks, and what you do. So.
Okay. Well, again, thanks for the opportunity. And my journey has been all over the place, not a straight line, which I've learned is kind of a nice way to travel sometimes. It was quite the straight line 24 years ago with being in corporate, being that perfectionist, painfully so. And I was introduced to Reiki while I was searching for a physical healing. I was having a difficulty conceiving my third child and was doing all the medical stuff, actually telling the physicians what to do. This was a long time ago where there was no internet and I don't know what was happening, but my dear friend was a Reiki level 1. I had no idea. She said, let me do Reiki. And I said, okay. She did Reiki. I got pregnant. Little step in between, but so don't get nervous. But that shifted my entire life. It shifted to, oh my word, there's something to this. I had a physical healing immediately. And for me, it was a way that my spiritual team got my attention to say, we need you to do a little bit more. And left corporate, little steps in between, became a Reiki master. And somewhere quickly on that Reiki journey, my perfectionism was healed.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing. I didn't ask for it because I thought it was working for me. But however, Reiki heals what needs to be healed. Our higher self has that answer. It may not be what our conscious mind is thinking. And immediately shifted gears, went to massage school. The intuitive opened back up. Reiki was a big part of that. And immediately starting my little tiny practice, sharing an office with my sister who did grief counseling and still does, and hypnosis. We shared a tiny office, but immediately I heard, we want you to have a wellness center. Now, we're going back 24 years. My response was, what is that? They weren't there. I didn't know what it was. They described the center.
Where we are
today. And I said, can you wait? Because I wasn't ready. Can you wait till the youngest is, this Reiki baby miracle is in high school? Because
a lot of pots to boil.
Spirit didn't care. It was 10 years. But in that 10 years, built the database. Again, I'm dating myself. Built that email, built the reputation, just turned it over. And that all happened. Not thinking of anything. She started high school September 3rd. September 5th, we signed the lease to the first wellness center, which was here in Medford Village, just not this building. And from there, again, it's been spirit-led. We were told by Spirit, move to Main Street. We did, right next door. Then we were told by Spirit, you need to get a little bigger. You need more practitioners. This place became available right next door, so it was easier. Now, there was a little pushback. In between, it was like, what? You want me to move again? Really? Then I get over myself. Okay,
but the human experience mixed in.
Yeah, we don't lose that part of ourselves. So then we came here. We figured here, 9 offices, 9 practitioners, and a practitioner said, "Hey, would you mind if I shared office space?" Again, it was like, wow, what a cool idea. I would have never thought of that. Okay. So during this journey, I've learned to be open-minded. I've learned to surrender some of that control. I've learned to, and some people may cringe to hear this, like, business plan? Like, what's that? Mm-hmm. Spirit's got it handled. I just have to show up. And of course, keep the connection going.
Right.
So that's the story of the center. So here we are now, 14 practitioners work out of this space.
Wow.
We have the Zen Den, which is a beautiful metaphysical store which carries products that help all of our clients. Mm-hmm. So we all work together there as well. We have about 25 workshops a month. That was part of the deal too, that my guides in the beginning, when I asked what's a wellness center, they said, we want you to have workshops every night of the week, but we don't want you teaching them all. And I was like, okay. Okay, because I probably would have tried to tackle that and failed, but whatever.
Just do it myself.
So here it is. And again, my job is to keep the door open. Okay. And whatever else happens in there. Plus, I get to see my own clients, which is lovely and beautiful too.
I love that. And I'm so appreciative of you in this space. I mean, I think when you're getting into that holistic space, and especially as a Western world practitioner, it is and was very hard to walk that line. And I think you do a beautiful job of blending those two together and offering that space to practitioners as well as clients that come in the door,
Oh, absolutely. And again, Spirit leads people here. I get the benefit and the privilege and the fun to meet whoever Spirit leads. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful.
Now I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when you start saying Eastern practices, Reiki,
yep,
you get some pushback, right? Some irk. And then you'll hear people say, "Oh, I'm not into that religion," or this, that, or the other thing. Yep. So when you say spirit, what are you referring to?
So when I say spirit, I'm talking about that beautiful collection of guides, masters, gods, if you will. It's that collective energy that's greater than us. So we're here, and we're doing the human thing, and we're doing it pretty well most times. We try, we do our thing, but there's a whole nother realm and vibration, if you will. All of our loved ones who have crossed over, they tell me, a part of what I do as a medium is I help people heal through their grief. I help comfort in those times where things aren't making any sense. We lose a loved one, and I feel so privileged to be able to do that. So over the years, the thousands of spirits I've spoken with, they all say the same thing. When the human vessel stops, when the human vessel is done, we don't die. We just change vibration. And that energy in us, that energy that keeps us alive, that passion, that goes on. It just changes vibration. So when I speak of spirit, I'm speaking of that collective energy that is available to anyone. It doesn't have a religion per se. Religion is beautiful. Religion is a man-made way to help people connect with that energy. But sometimes we get hung up on, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? Am I being punished? Am I doing this?
The perfectionism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When all we really have to say is, hey, if this is real, if this energy is there for me, please help. And that's it. And then you just kind of step back. And when I've done that, when I've like surrendered that perfectionism when I've actually said, I don't know how to do this. So can you please help? That's when I call them my jaw dropping moments where it's like, oh my word, I would have never thought of that in a million years.
It's kind of you get put where you're supposed to be put, whether or not you're ready for it or you think you're ready for it.
Exactly. But even if we're put there, again, that dependence or connection with spirit, we're guided and led. And over the years, because the perfectionism, because being an empath, being a very empathetic person and feeling I was responsible to care for the entire world, through all of that, it's been painful at times. And I say that, there's been many a times where I feel like I hit my head against the wall and it's painful. So now I say, please help me, please guide me, please be gentle. And it is.
The gentle part's really huge.
Oh, yes, it is.
Because I think we all can relate to, please show me, and there's a car accident or you fall down the steps and twist your ankle.
Exactly. And it certainly does not have to be that way. And the older this human vessel gets, the more she appreciates gentleness.
Just a little nudge. We don't need we don't need that. Any remnants or scars.
There you go.
So what do you think? I guess a couple of questions. Do you think that every person has the innate ability within them to tap into that intuitive side, that spirit side? Or do you think people have it? And do you think people are open to it, or do they just push it down because it feels uncomfortable?
So I do believe that it is possible for anyone with a desire. So anyone without a desire who's just going to shut the door, of course it's going to stay buried. But the beautiful part is, especially being here, we get to meet people who are open and looking. They may not know what they're looking for, but there's an open-mindedness, an open-heartedness when they come in. So is the ability to maybe connect, like for you to connect with my loved ones, that might be a little bit more challenging. But can you connect with your own? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe that. I do. And I think it's, even in my own Reiki practice, it's not a piece that I bring into it, but I know it's a piece that you have done for me, others have done for me, and it's a beautiful support and guide. And
absolutely. Yeah. And there's always a respect. I always respect people where they are. In the beginning, I was a massage therapist, again, helping with the physical, wanted the physical. The intuitive was there, but I didn't quite put that out. That little miracle Reiki baby was in school and loved to talk about it. Mommy talks to dead people kind of thing. So we just, for a little while, I wasn't totally comfortable with it. Now, my clients would come in and I would share it. But then once I began to really love me, I began to appreciate me for who I am, then it all was there. And it's rarer now. We just speak because of who I am, that someone will question it or someone will say something negative. But if that ever comes up, I say, hey, I get it. I get it. It's uncomfortable. I get it. And I change the subject. And especially with Reiki, and we know we don't ever try to force it. We don't ever have to defend it. It just is what it is. And it is universal life force energy.
Yep. Within all of us.
Nobody can disagree with life force energy. That part's real, medically and spiritually as well.
And there are studies coming out which get me so excited about, the actual benefits on physiological response, that it supports everything that has been done prior to us getting here. And I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful space and gives people a whole other option for healing.
Absolutely.
So talking about healing, and I think of my Western healthcare brain, I think of so many people that come into the hospital or the rehab setting and they're in that crisis mode. The chaos is happening, right? It's very unplanned most of the time. It's very reactive. How much of your practice would you say you get people proactively, or do you also get the people who come to your door in chaos?
Yeah, both. And I say, like, I'm either the first person somebody's going to come to see or the last person. I have, and it might even be 50-50, where
Okay.
someone comes in and says, I don't know how I found you, but I did, and I've tried everything. I can't, I don't have answers. I don't feel I can heal. So I'm going to try this.
And they,
And it, more often than not, it's been a beautiful experience to watch. It's been healing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's been empowering for someone when they come in and they can't get answers and they can't get pain relief and they don't know who their physical body is anymore, and they have then lost some of their mental body because of the stress, and it all starts coming together. And I don't claim to be the healer. I claim to be the witness or the helper through the guide to help somebody through their healing. But when that smile's there and when it's like, oh my word, that I don't have the pain right now, it is a beautiful thing to witness.
it really is. You do, and you watch people who can't get out of their own anxiety, and they sit on on your table and just fall asleep, right? And
Yeah.
I remember a lady I had at my first healing fair here with you. So I was, brand new into the, I don't know, renting space, corporate space type of idea. And she lays down. I was in your room that day, and she lays down and she says to me, "I'm sorry if I punch you."
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm used to this in the hospital, but I'm not used to this. Yeah, I'm not used to this at all. I'm definitely not used to this in the communal space.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, okay, why is that?" And she had a trauma dump, like a whole ton of physical and different, things, abuse things that had happened to her, and how reactive she was just to touch. And I said, "Well, don't have to touch you. Reiki is in your aura field, in your aura space." And she goes, "No, you can touch me. Just I might hit you." I thought, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
So I said, "Let's roll the dice. Let's start at the head. We start at the crown." This woman fell asleep for 20 minutes and she woke up sobbing. She's like, I haven't been able to let my kids touch me or hug me in years.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, what a powerful space and what a message as a practitioner, not knowing her own way at the time, figuring that out. What a gift. But when you say, that gift, you see people just have these moments of connection and beauty. And do you have any clients like that stick out, or stories of?
Oh my word, absolutely. And so quite a few clients will come in stressed and they'll say, I really can't relax, but I want to try this. And same thing. They fall asleep and they sit up and they're like, that's never happened before, which is beautiful. But I've had clients with physical healings, which have been amazing. Chronic pain, and she's a local here in Medford, and she knew me, and she said, I want to try that Reiki thing because my back's hurting me. I said, well, come on over anytime. And she laid and she got up and she's like, wait, the pain is gone. And then it was funny because a few days later she was walking down the street and she yells from across the street when I stepped out, the pain's still gone, which was so nice to hear.
Yeah.
Definitely. So all sorts of, and again, Reiki can heal physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all of the above in one session. So we can't even say, oh, it's going to take you 6 sessions, 1 week. We don't know. Yep. That's kind of cool too.
It is.
We don't have to figure that part out.
No, sure don't. I always have clients say, how many times should I come back?
Right.
And it's really about reconnecting with your body and yourself.
Yeah.
You know when you need. And when you listen into that little self inside, that's where you really, I think you rejoin with yourself, and reconnect.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you think stops people from surrendering, both in our holistic space as well as the traditional medicine space?
Fear. Fear is the basis to everything. We understand that healing is for those who truly want it, not necessarily for all those that need it. Illness, discomfort can serve a purpose for some people. It can get them the reason to take off from work. It can get them the love and attention from a spouse or parent that they've never had. So in those instances, that subconscious fear of, well, who will I be if I heal? For other people with having these ailments, the fear of, well, what if I don't? What if I don't heal? So maybe I hold on to this, and not necessarily conscious. This is the subconscious part. So when we just say, hey, let's try non-invasive, Reiki can do no harm. It's life force energy. It can do no harm. The least it'll do is give you a break for half hour to 45 minutes. So fear is a biggie. You know, the what if, who am I going to be without this? Or who am I going to be if this doesn't work? And that fear can be paralyzing.
Do you have any tips that you give to your clients for overcoming that and to share with our audience?
Yeah. What I have found is pen and paper is a beautiful tool. I'm going to date myself again. We have this cassette playing in our head. I should get modern, but I just like it too much.
I love it. It's who you are.
So we have this cassette that plays, and it's a loop. That fear that, okay, that this is my appointment, this is what, so that cassette goes. So if you can relate to cassettes, cassettes usually get little nicks in them, and then eventually those nicks, it would just unravel, break and unravel. So that's what we want to do. So when we can, pen and paper, vomit our fears on paper. What am I scared of? What's going on? And then do not reread, do not edit. Immediately rip in a million pieces. It's as if when those emotions hit air, when those emotions are out, they begin to dissolve. And you may have to write several times, several days, but that's okay. But you start chipping away at it, start putting those nicks, and then re-recording the cassette. The getting to know. So who am I? You release all those fears, you rip them up. Then when you feel clearer on that, then you start to write. So who am I? Who do I want to be? And begin to write the new chapter, the new program for that cassette. That is so empowering. And when we start to do that, it connects to all the energy that's around us. And that's how we begin to manifest our hopes, our dreams. But even knowing there's a lot of people who feel they're not worthy, who feel this is it, this is my lot in life, I made my bed, I have to lie in it, all of those things. But all you have to do is try. Just try a little bit and then see what happens.
That's beautiful. I love that. And it's those little glimmers.
Yeah.
I was talking about this, I think, on last week's podcast, right? It's not immediate change we're looking for, right? It's not when I go to sleep in my apartment or I go to sleep in my car and then I wake up in a mansion the next day. It very rarely works that way. It's those little glimmers of $5 more in the bank account, less stress at an event, another meal on the table, right? It's those little pieces, a little bit just of reconnection.
Exactly. And then it brings peace. And when you go, think about your last week or even yesterday, how much peace was in there? How much, how many minutes were you able to say, wow, I'm exactly where I want to be in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And even if we act as if, or pause a little bit to just recognize, oh, wait a minute, I'm kind of happy here. This is okay. Those little pauses.
Mm-hmm. I know in my own healing journey, somewhere along the line, probably Instagram, I read a meme that said, we're not healing to heal the trauma. We're healing to feel the joy. And that was the mind shift change for me. I was like, wow, yeah, like I wanted to put my trauma in a little box and put a bow on it and put it on the shelf and make it pretty and organized and all the type A things I love to do, right? And then I realized, wait a minute, that's not what it's about. It is. It's the joy, the peace, those moments of just, the exhale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with that exhale, consciously taking a real deep breath throughout the day is enough of a pause to shift things and be okay, I'm okay in this moment, rather than just barreling through and on that autopilot.
Yeah.
Today, us sitting right here, right now, this is living life. Whether you're sitting at a desk and you're going through numbers, that's living life. It's not just the weekend. It's not the vacation if you're blessed enough to have one planned. It's not the birth. It's right here, right now, and we just not easier said than done sometimes, but just shift our focus to, all right, let me just be right here, right now, wherever that is. And it brings a different perspective. The only thing in this human condition that we do have total control over is our perspective.
That's so true.
And when we can look at something and it's overwhelming and you can't breathe, and it's like, okay, let me use the tools that I've gathered to change that perspective. And a good change is curiosity. That's a lighter energy, like, I wonder how this is going to work out. It begins to shift that. Then when we change our perspective, then it becomes our perception. And that's our feeling, that's our embodying. And that is a relief when we shift it.
Right? It really does. It opens you up. It takes you out of fight or flight. It decreases the cortisol.
It really
all
does.
the things that we know are so toxic to our days and our body.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing, like you said, I talk about 3 deep healing breaths all the time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And yes, they take you down a notch, but physically as well. It's a physical thing. So, we're going back into science, that those deep breaths trigger the correct neurons to go to the brain to say, oh, okay, we're relaxing. Forcing ourselves to smile. Using those muscles, again, they trigger the right signals to go to the brain to say, oh, wait, a little lighter perspective. So the two do meet.
They sure do. They sure do.
We're not just woo-woo.
No. We're woo-woo with the Hippocratic Oath here.
There you go. I like that.
And when you think about, right, even just if some of our yogis out there, right, Kundalini yoga, things of that nature, right, and how that travels up from our root chakra, it's in the same shape and pattern as our beautiful Hippocratic symbols. Right?
Yes. And our chakras, our energy centers, they are physical.
They sure are.
As well. So we're not just talking, oh, this mysterious energy that floats in there. No, there's organs attached with them as well.
Sure are. That's where I nerd out for days and days on end, because it's my love language. So where do you think there is or isn't a place on the porch? So we always have new best guests coming by and saying hi. If you do come down for a taping, just jump on in. You're more than welcome. But do you think there is or isn't a certain place for folks going through a medical diagnosis where they should start to look to adding the alternatives of alternative health practices in? Like if someone has a new diagnosis or a new traumatic event, do you think there's a place that best serves them if they are open to receiving different healing services?
I do, and right away. And if they can start this before the diagnosis, even better. So when you have a new issue or a change in your body, absolutely make the appointment with your physician. Absolutely. But also make an appointment for some Reiki. So begin your healing immediately. And who knows? You could probably get an appointment for Reiki a little bit sooner than your physician, and maybe it's healed before the appointment. That has happened.
You do see it happen.
The two Reiki has absolutely no contraindications. So you can receive Reiki while you're going through chemo. You can receive Reiki if you have a broken bone. And yes, we are not touching you at that point. We're staying in your energy field. There are no contraindications, which again is a beautiful thing. So there's never a question of, well, is this going to make it worse?
It's the only thing in healthcare that's not contraindicated, quite
frankly. Even, when I was a massage therapist,
right.
In massage, there are lots of different physical things that, let's not do massage today. Yeah. But with Reiki, there are none.
I love that. It's one of the most beautiful things.
Me too.
So what would you say is your biggest piece of advice for people who are curious, interested, but scared? Like, how do they get to a place that they're open to experiencing it? Or maybe even they're not open. How do they make the connection?
So the beautiful ways to make the connection. So here at the center in Medford, third Saturday of every month, we offer what we call a psychic healing fair. And the main purpose of that is to introduce people. So we have what are several practitioners. They offer 20-minute sessions so you can get a feel for it. But they're real sessions, really potent. But then we offer free talks. It's from 10 to 2. So we offer free talks, different practitioners. Again, it's not all me. They come and they explain different things and different concepts. Again, so no obligation. Maybe a little bit of time. They're 20-minute talks. So you can come in for one. We post the schedule. You can see, no cost. You just come in and try it and meet some good morning, like-minded people. No real obligation. You don't have to spend any money, just a little bit of time, but it is a fun, peaceful environment. You can always reach out. So it's the Center Life in Balance. Website's the same, thecenterlifeinbalance.com. And under services, list all of the practitioners that work out of here. Everyone has their private practice, but the cool thing is we come together as a community to work together. So you can go under there. You can see someone's picture. You can have a link to go to their website and get a feel for it. None of us make you sign a contract that you have to come see us, once a week for 6 weeks. So you can just come and try. See what it's like for yourself. That is the best way. Of course, you can look on, technology is not my strong suit. Google reviews or however and see some reviews if that makes you feel more comfortable. Anytime the center's open, which is anytime a practitioner's here or the store is open, the doors are open. It's a beautiful old Victorian. You can come in. We have a library, that wellness books. You could sit, feel the energy. We always have a puzzle. Some are more difficult than others on the table to just chill. And the coffee and tea are always on. So you can walk in anytime and just get a feel. It always works out that there's a practitioner, if not me, a practitioner in the parlor.
It's true.
Who has a few minutes to chat. It just always works out.
It does. It's a beautiful thing. Well,
it is.
Susan, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank
coming
you.
to chat.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in today. Our next healing fair is the 21st.
Yes.
Not this Saturday, but then
this month.
This month, September. So stop on by. We will both be there.
Yeah. We start the day at 10 with a guided meditation. That is led by me.
That is Susan. So come on by, and we look forward to seeing you then. But that is it for today's Friday Fridays on the Porch.
Lovely.
Thank you.
You.
Enjoy
Thank
the rest
you.
of your day, and you all also. Take care. And did this last time. We might edit that part. Let's see. Well, we'll just have to edit that last little.